Howdy there, people of the internet. It's me again, Will. Today, I want to talk to you about yet another member of the Vallow clan. Another member of the family who is unfortunate, to have to say this, but batshit nuts. So, let's take a look at it. You're thinking to yourself, how can there possibly be another member of this family that is absolutely batshit nuts? Well, there is. And you may have actually forgotten all about this individual because, well, she kind of kept her name out of the news after she tried to have her former husband murdered. Did you forget about this one? Today, we're taking a look at Melanie, Boudreaux. Melanie Pawlowski now, because she has since remarried and changed her last name. She's the one who got the information and fed it to Alex, Cox, Lori Vallow's brother, so he could kill actual Brandon Boudreaux. Yes, there was another plot, another circle, another murder thing that was, connected to this entire, situation with Lori and Chad. So what did, good old Melanie do? Well, it's kind of hard to unravel, so I'm going to have to take this piece by piece, and I hope that this makes sense to everyone out there in the world. So, first off, Melanie and Brandon Boudreaux, her former husband, were going through a divorce. As part of the divorce agreement, Melanie was to remove herself from any, life insurance. She was to remove herself from any type of assets past the home. They already agreed to sell the home, sell off a bunch of assets, but not to be attached to anything that they had decided. Brandon gets to keep this. She gets to keep this. She used to take her name off of everything that Brandon got to keep. And this included bank accounts that he had for his construction company and consulting firm, Cougar Construction and Consulting. So she was supposed to remove herself off. 3 months after the court said, you need to remove yourself from these accounts, she accessed Brandon's actual bank account to get his actual new address because she didn't know at that point where he actually lived. This information was then passed on to Alex Cox, who tried to kill Brandon Boudreaux. And that is very clear right now by the actual documentation in this case that the information and the address of him was handed off to Alex Cox because nobody knew where he was living. They knew he lived in Mesa, but they didn't know where in Mesa he was. Well, it's no easier for a hitman to, carry out his actual job than to know where the person works and where they actually lived. Additionally, the other part of the allegations against Melanie is that she downloaded and printed off actual copies of checks that Brandon had received from his construction consulting company and used them in the custody battle. But it wasn't caught until almost a year and a half later, after the custody case, that a bitter custody case, I might add, wrapped up. So, charges may be filed against her for not one felony, but two felonies and a total of two misdemeanors. And it all depends on how much evidence they're actually able to gather and if she'll take some type of plea agreement on all of these. So, yet again, in wrapping this up, another member of the family, or extended family, if you will, is out there doing whatever they want with no actual care about the law and what is actually right or wrong. Did she, hire Alex Cox to kill her husband so she wouldn't have to go through the divorce and the custody fight? And that appears almost dead set that that's what happened. Because let's not forget, Melanie Pawlowski Boudreaux is a firm believer, and she was one of several people who were extended family members who believed in everything that Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell were speaking about. The doomsday prophecies, the difference between a dark soul and a light soul, and those who have been, possessed by a dark spirit. And the only way for them to cross over was to leave this human soul, this body, this shell behind, so they could cross over to the other side. And we all knew what that meant. As soon as Lori and Chad started talking about it and saying that people were possessed, we knew the time for JJ, Tylee, Tammy, Charles, and Joseph, Ryan as well, were all very short. And immediately, because you know what, you don't just leave this body, this entity, and find a way to the other side without dying. And sure enough, shortly after Alex Cox got the information, somebody took a shot at Brandon Boudreaux. The evidence is very clear. And the police department there and the investigators were very clear in their analysis of the entire situation that yes, this was not just a random shot from a hunter that went stray and it hit his vehicle. Did not hit him. We're lucky for that part, and he is still alive to this day. And hopefully he will, testify, for what he knows about the family and the conversations he had with Lori and with, Chad Daybell, to help convict them in the end. So, just a little catch up on what Melanie is doing. Who's next? Which domino is next? And we've already seen Colby Ryan hit the news for rape charges. Now it's Melanie. Who is next in this family to be exposed to the world as being, I'm sorry again for saying it, batshit nuts? And in closing, though, I want to make sure that everybody understands when it comes to the Woodcocks family, the grandparents, they're not the ones who were batshit nuts. They're the only ones who gave a shit about Tylee and JJ. But the rest of the people connected to this family on all of the marriages and different sides of all of it, nieces, nephews, everybody else that we've learned about in this case is nuts. Batshit nuts.